Research questions are always based on assumptions. This is fine. However, your first draft research question is likely to contain too many taken for granted assumptions. Therefore, you can develop your question by making a list of the assumptions it contains, and then ask yourself whether some of these assumptions can be skipped altogether. For example, you may ask the question, how can mindfulness practices enhance growth in organizations by increasing employees' awareness of corporate social responsibility? This question contains at least 3 assumptions about causal connections. First, it assumes that mindfulness practices will make employees more aware of corporate social responsibility. Second, it assumes that practicing mindfulness is a useful way of increasing awareness of corporate social responsibility. And third, it assumes that increased awareness of corporate social responsibility will benefit organizational growth. Now you can ask whether these assumptions are established in the literature. As we will talk about later, one of the main things you have to do in a literature review is to show that the assumptions you base your question on are well established in the literature. However, if your initial question contains an assumption that is not already firmly established in the research literature, then you can simplify your question by asking about this one particular assumption instead of asking about the whole thing. Using this technique, we see that our initial research question can be broken down into several simpler questions. Each one of these questions would be enough to write a thesis on. We could, for example, ask, what are the effects of mindfulness practices on employees' awareness of corporate social responsibility, if any? Or we could ask, what are the benefits and challenges related to using mindfulness practices to increase employees' awareness of social corporate responsibility? Or we could ask, what are the effects on organizational growth from increased awareness of corporate social responsibility? And finally, we could ask, how have increased awareness of corporate social responsibility been used to drive organizational growth? Each of these questions are simpler than the original question, and they form better basis for a piece of research. Even though these questions are simpler, they of course still contain a lot of very broad terms that need to be specified, as we spoke about earlier. For example, we would need to specify what concrete mindfulness practices you want to look at, what growth measures or concepts of growth you want to use, what kind of organizations you will research, and what kind of employees you are interested in. Similarly, you must define what you mean by the term corporate social responsibility, since the literature on this topic will hold many different definitions of this concept.